Right, welcome back to the Young Fan Podcast and welcome to another League One roundup on this Sunday afternoon. You know the drill. 5 selected games to delve deep into. Don't worry, at the end of the episode we'll be going around the grounds, so nobody will be missing. Please do leave a like and subscribe on the road to 4.5 thousand subscribers. That is pretty mind-blowing. The views, just the numbers in general, the likes, the comments, the interaction, it's just all been pretty crazy, and that's down to you. Thank you so much. We're continuing to push on with the content, improve in the ways that we can. There's many ways to improve, and we're always trying to do that to create the best possible content for you. And yeah, it's going pretty well at the moment, and I'm really quite enjoying it. Join the Discord server in the link below as well. You can join that for constant ongoing League One conversation. Subscribe, leave a like, notification bell is really important as well. You'll be notified when I go live or do a recorded episode just like this one. So it finishes Cambridge United 1, Oxford United 0. The XG for the game 0.38 to Oxford's 0.47. Where do we start from an Oxford point of view? Where do we start? Once again, a horrific performance from minute 1 to minute 90. I'm going to start with Cambridge United. Thoroughly deserved the win. You wanted it more. You bullied us in a good way, in a footballing sense, and you got the result that, like I said, you absolutely deserve. There is no debate about it. Cambridge won the game, and they were much better. Much better. But I'm an Oxford fan. My job is to break this game down. I really don't know where to go. I really don't know where to go. Oxford United have to make a big decision within the next 48 hours. They have to. Because we are in a relegation battle. And I'm speaking to people. I am not going to go overboard. I've got, I think, a decent track record of being sensible with my opinion, especially when it comes to Oxford United. I don't like making these big statements because I think you have to break them down and look at them in a deeper way, analyse them, reflect on them, have evidence to suggest that it's a good statement to make, a comment, and a good opinion. But of course, beyond all of that, I'm a football fan. And I care about my football club, and I want my football club to succeed. And we are a million miles away from that. An absolute million miles away from that. And we have to improve in so many areas. And what I mean by Oxford having to make a big call in the next 48 hours is parting ways with Carl Robinson. They have to part ways with Carl Robinson. We can't keep looking backwards. And I'll say this again, and I'm bored of saying it, but we have had success under Robinson. He has brought us some good times. He's got us to a playoff final. He's got us to a playoff semi-final. We played good football as a human being. He's dealt with some very difficult things connected to the football club in a brilliant way. He is a top man and a good manager. And people will laugh at that, but I do believe he's a good manager. You don't get to playoff semi-finals and playoff finals in League One if you're not a good coach, and he did do that. But his recruitment in the last 2, arguably 3-4 windows before this season, the way that this squad is really not structured and shaped well. We talk about the top sides in League One, their squad building. You can see exactly what they're trying to do. We are a mess. We're in disarray. We don't know who's going to play, who's not going to play. We haven't got the best front line. We don't know our best front line. We haven't got the best front line. Nowhere near, but we don't know who our best front line is. Who's going to play at the back? Who's our best midfield 3? Maguire's been really good, but he's now not getting games. Why is that? Are we trying to go to attacking, or are we trying to, just because we can't score goals, throw so many attacking players onto the football pitch to try and give us that output? I don't know. Either way, we're a mess from top to bottom. And we have to sort it out in a way of making a big call. And that big call has to be sacking Carl Robinson on Monday morning. And I don't want to come on here and call for managers' heads, because that isn't fair. That isn't fair a lot of the time. But this time, this is about looking at it from an Oxford point of view, purely just from the football club. We can't keep him. We can't keep him. He will not win the fans back now. It's too far gone. He will send us down on this current form. Cambridge United, they were, I haven't got their exact record, I should have it down here, but they were in really bad form. Nailed on to get relegated. They've got hope now. We've given them hope. And we're down there with them. And we've just given them 3 points. We'll look at the league table in just a second, but teams below us and above us, but you've got to look below now, haven't you? They've got games in hand on us. Some teams have got 3 games in hand on Oxford. The most, I think I've got 2. I think 2 games in hand. The majority of teams below us. That is a absolutely huge concern. A huge concern. And of course, it's not at the playoffs. Sides aren't guaranteed to win those games in hand. I'm fully aware of that. But, Burton won yesterday again. Accrington won. Of course, Cambridge won. Sides are picking up points. I really don't know where this is going to end and how this is going to end. I really don't. Looking at it from taking that away from it and looking at it from a pure statistical point of view, look at our strikers. Carl Joseph. We'll look at Carl Joseph, but Tyler Smith, who I've got here now, I can bring his stats up. Of course, 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 shots on target. 0 shots on target, 0 shots off target. Our striker had no shots. Our striker didn't hit a single shot on goal. Sam Baldock, 1 shot. It was on target. 1 shot the entire game. Carl Joseph, I believe, 0 shots the entire game. Our front three had a combined 1 shot. Let's have a little look at the area in which we had our shots. Not a single shot in the penalty box. All of our shots came outside the penalty area. A few pop shots, a few opportunities that really should be saved and were saved. No opportunity inside the Cambridge United penalty area in the first half or the second half. You can see we did have 10 shots. We did have more possession. 3 shots on target, 2 shots off target. Like I said, all of those outside the penalty area. Our strikers only hitting 1 combined shot. Set piece we conceded as well. We did concede a set piece. Lloyd Jones had a brilliant game. Lloyd Jones is a very good ball playing, strong, physical, tall back defender in that back three that works so well. Defensively, I thought Ryan Bennett, Michael Morrison, they were professional. They were experienced. I know Michael Morrison does bring experience in there, but even Lloyd Jones, who isn't old, he came in and has done this season, and in a quite struggling Cambridge United squad, has really impressed. The way that he drove forward. I think he had one opportunity in the first half where he just drove down that left-hand side with ease. He's a technically very gifted player, and if Cambridge do go down, I know there is hope now, but if they do go down, I think he'll be playing probably in the Championship. He has that ability. He's been so good. And he scored the goal, a really good header from a set piece. And, we didn't come back into the game. You can see the formation we tried to play, went back to a back three, tried to match Cambridge United, and did that work? No, it didn't. We tried to add more attacking players on there. Josh Murphy, who's a winger, played right wing back, didn't get into the game. Lewis Bate had one of his good games again, but in a very poor side. Cameron Brannigan looked okay. Brendan Fleming, I thought, was really bad. I thought Carl Joseph was struggling. Tyler Smith, Sam Baldock offered nothing. This is the story of our season, and we cannot be naive to think that just because we've got decent players there, players that should be doing better, players that should be in a squad higher than wherever we are now, 17th, 16th, 17th, I think, 17th, that we can't be dragged into it, because we absolutely can. When I say we are playing some of the worst football I've ever seen as an Oxford fan, I mean it. This is the worst run by far that I've seen my football club be on. And of course, I'm only 18, so I haven't had an abundance of years to look back on. But I do look at this now and go, I don't see a worse time. I really don't. In terms of the run of form, I don't see it. And in terms of performance levels, we lost 1-0 to Cambridge and had a 0.47 XG. And this is not throwing any disrespect at Cambridge United, because they deserve to win the game. But a 0.47 XG against a side who are in and were in shambolic form, nailed on relegation form. We've given them hope, and we've dragged ourselves into it. And we should be disgraced. The players should take responsibility. It's not just Robinson. I think Robinson has to go now for many reasons. He just is going to... He's gonna stay, isn't he? But I think he can't. He really can't, because there is a serious concern now that this is not just about Robinson. I've been saying this for a while. This is not just about Robinson. This is a wider thought. This is a wider thing. This is about Oxford United potentially not being in the league next season. Ironically, Robinson came out after the game and said, "I still believe I can take this football club out of League One." I don't think it's going to be in the fashion right now, in the way that I think he believes he was saying that. I think we are in disarray from top to bottom. We're certainly in crisis point. We are absolutely drowning in crisis point. And I don't see a way that we can improve. I don't. Who do we get if Robinson does get sacked? I don't know. I really haven't got a clue. And it's a scary, really, really scary place to be. Fair bit to Cambridge, Oxford United, an embarrassing performance once again. The players should be disgraced. The manager should be embarrassed, which I do think he is. I believe they are gutted. I believe they are hurting. But there's no time for that now. There's no time for that. You've got to go and pick up points next weekend against Bristol Rovers. Can we do it? Rovers aren't in great form. But I don't trust these people. I don't trust these people because they're letting us down time and time again. I'm worried. I am. And you can probably tell that. But there we go. Let's move on. So, Ipswich 4, Forest Green Rovers nil. The XG for the game, 2.17 to Forest Green's 0.16. The XG, the scoreline, the attacking momentum graph in front of me here, they all paint a pretty clear picture. The same picture. Forest Green look down and out. I'm sorry, I know it's early days and Duncan Ferguson's come in and I thought their January transfer window was actually quite good. They were showing signs of in that window, and the appointment of Duncan Ferguson I think also does suggest that as well. But they're winning way too many games at the business end of the season. I don't see a way out. And I know this kind of game is not one to show and get those important wins in a relegation dogfight. I do 100% understand that. But it's another loss. While sides, Cambridge, Accrington, Burton are winning games, I just don't see it. I'm sorry. As for Ipswich, total control. The rhythm of the game was all there. You can see only one Forest Green moment in the entire game. So there's one sort of the first 5 minutes, but even that is very, very minimal. Generally, Ipswich wiped the floor of Forest Green Rovers, and that's what they needed. They needed a statement. They've been drawing too many games. They've been dropping too many points. People have been sort of seeing them out of the conversation when it comes to the top two, which looked like it really could happen around Christmas time, and before that, you'd say. And unfortunately, drop points, disappointing games in recent weeks have maybe brushed them aside slightly from that real conversation. But results like that put them straight back in the mix. And I know you can't be short term and there has to be a bias, or can't be a bias in the short term. But I think this type of game, they absolutely showed their quality. I want to sort of touch on a few interesting points actually. No Forest Green big chances for the entire match. I think that can be shown there, but I can tell you from a statistical perspective, no big chances for Forest Green. Ipswich defended very well, kept the clean sheet, but the way they're defending was the way they're attacking. The best form of defence is attack. I think Kieran McKenna absolutely installed that in the side yesterday. Of course, they didn't need to defend. They didn't allow Forest Green Rovers out of their own half. In fact, you can see by looking at the average positions, this paints, again, a clear picture as to what we can see. Let's actually Forest Green first. All crammed in their own half. Only one player comfortably in the opposition half, the Ipswich half, on average for the entire 90 minutes. Everyone else just cramped. No width at all. So tight. Look how close number 23, 11, absolutely on top of each other. They're all just crammed into their own half. We're not allowed to get out. Ipswich, like I said, the best form of defence was attack. Cram them in. Pin them in. Don't allow them rhythm in the game. They certainly didn't. No question about it. As for Ipswich, much more spread out. You can see much more spread out. Wes Burns, their right wing back, in line with their number 27, of course. That again shows so much about the positioning, about the way they attacked, the fluidity of their attacking play, so high up. Complete polar opposite to Forest Green Rovers, and that's how they won the game. They pinned them in, they crammed them in, they didn't allow them to get any way into the match throughout the entire 90 minutes. And of course, that'd be a big concern. Possession also does back that up as well. 61% possession, 25 total shots, 12 shots on target. No shots on target for Forest Green Rovers. And of course, like I said earlier, no big chances either. I don't see a way out of this mess for Forest Green Rovers. Like I said, this isn't the type of game to be sort of judging them if they can win a dogfight. I get it, but it's another really quite disappointing loss, and one they didn't get a foot in whatsoever. You can see the amount of shots. Look at that. Pummeled the penalty area. Absolutely pummeled the Forest Green Rovers penalty area. The amount of shots, the goals that came in and around those areas as well. As for Forest Green Rovers, the 3 shots they had, not even close to the penalty area. You can see just around. I mean, that one there is nearly, wow, it's well away from the penalty area, isn't it? And the other 2 are pop shots, long range efforts. 1 shot on target, of course, came. 1 shot in the box. It wasn't on target. So look at the disparity. Absolutely all over them. And yeah, I don't really see a way of Forest Green getting out of this situation. Rock bottom of the league, 22 points. Now that gap is getting bigger and bigger now. 8 points away from 20th Accrington Stanley. I just don't see it. As for Ipswich, 60 points. They are 8 points away from Plymouth and Sheffield Wednesday. Of course, Wednesday have got a game in hand, but I think now the way Sheffield Wednesday are playing will come onto their game. Plymouth dropped points yesterday. That did help them as well. Maybe they can sneak it. I would say they are still the underdogs for that top two. I think Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth are definitely my favourites for it, but I think they've got to win these games, and they did, and they got hope that teams drop points. Plymouth did that, and they can sort of gain a little bit of ground on them, so we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, a good result for Ipswich, one they needed to have. No slip up, no banana skin was going to be the message, and they definitely did it in style, so fair play to them. They win the game and continue in the conversation. Fair play to them. Let's move on to the third game of the roundup, Derby County against Charlton. So Derby County 2, Charlton Athletic nil. The XG for the game 1.87 to Charlton's 0.30. I just think Derby showed their quality. I think quality told in this match. Charlton weren't bad, but Derby were just better, both individually and as a team. Derby coming into this game with not amazing amount of confidence, some silly drop points in the last two. I say silly. They were difficult games. Wycombe away is never easy. Lincoln have proven this season they're a really quite difficult side to break down. So not silly points in the opposition, but considering where they want to get to in the run before that, it was frustrating. But they did the job yesterday. They did the job, and I think they deserved it. I do. XG suggests it. And also the graph as well. You can see the first half definitely in control. Charlton had a bit of a moment to get back into the game, equalise after a really early penalty they conceded. McGoldrick tucks it away in the 9th minute. And that's a massive kick in the teeth. Dean Holden's thinking, no. The players are also probably thinking, that is not a good start to a game at Pride Park whatsoever. Going 1-0 down in a game where you need to keep it tight, you need to keep a really quite good unit. So to keep and give away a penalty like that is just not good. It's not good. And Derby will smell blood. And just like that, they've got the advantage, they've got the lead, and Derby can play slightly more conservative. They can be defensively known, they've got a cushion, and that's a really nice place to be when you're 1-0 up in a game. For Charlton, they're constantly and then instantly chasing a game. And to chase a game at Pride Park against a side like Derby, who yes aren't in amazing form or weren't in great form, they're still a big side. And they've got that quality, and they should be winning this game, really, when you look at the team sheets. And of course, Charlton have got quality in that side, but Derby are better, and that's fair to say. But you can't write any side off. Lincoln as well, probably in that same bracket. They got a point. This is such a competitive league. Anyone can get points against anyone. Derby, they did the job. Second half, slightly more equal. A few moments in there, but in the 69th minute, Cashin scored a header from a set piece, and that was game over, you'd say. I think to score that second goal, I know there's only 20 minutes to go, but you still feel as though that was a point where the game was settled, and any chance of a comeback were certainly limited from a Charlton point of view. I thought Cashin had a really good game. I thought he did have a really good game. Defensively, they were strong. He scored the goal. It's a really, really good header, actually, if you go and watch it back. It's a really strong header. Also, as well, Conor Hourihane played well, and again, you always know he's going to play well. He's a top player, and he shouldn't really be in League One, but he is, and that's what Derby County have got going right now. A really, really strong squad with a mix of experience, youth as well. I know Harvey White came off injured, but he's a really good, exciting young player from Tottenham. They've got a real balance in that squad. Mendes Lang is around sort of 20, I want to say 25, 26. I could be wrong there, could be completely wrong, but I think he is sort of the peak of his career. Buck Husen as well. These are players that have played in the Championship. They've got a real mix around their squad right now that even through the difficult times, when they do drop a couple of points, they come into this game, and because they've got that experience and the energy of the younger players, the real balance across it can see them through these tough moments. And Charlton was an obstacle, and they did have a couple of obstacles, but they saw through it. A penalty, a set piece to concede, from a Charlton point of view, will be annoying. It will be annoying. The timing of the penalty we've spoken about, but to concede a penalty and a set-piece goal, both are avoidable. There will be a frustration there. 3 big chances for Derby County, 2 big chances for Charlton. And like I said, there were moments for Charlton. They weren't bad. But I think at the key moments and the big moments, and moments is a huge part of football, Derby got it right. And sometimes they are match winners. A lot of the time, they're match winners, and they did win the game 2-0. That is the final score. Derby County 2, Charlton Athletic 0. A good result for Derby. For Charlton, disappointing, not embarrassing though. Let's move on to the penultimate game. Sheffield Wednesday 5, MK Dons 2. The XG for the game, 3.72 to MK Dons' 0.78. A real statement from Sheffield Wednesday. A real statement. Some early obstacles in this game. MK Dons, they made it interesting, didn't they? They did make it quite interesting. You can see they went 1-0 down, Sheffield Wednesday. Lecco with a brilliant strike from outside the penalty area. A wonderful hit. That made it interesting. How are Sheffield Wednesday, who are in a really good position in the league table going into this game, and we know after it as well, how are they going to respond? What is their mentality? We speak about mentality quite a lot, and we have done with Sheffield Wednesday. How are they going to react to going 1-0 down in this game? Well, I was going to say you have to go and wait and see. You can look at the scoreline. I've already told you the scoreline and the expected goals that come with it. Going 1-0 down, though, they came back. Josh Windass, a really good finish, dinked over the goalkeeper. The confidence of Josh Windass, I think, played a big part in that 1 in the 9th minute. And then, MK Dons, it's poor defending, a poor header from the Sheffield Wednesday man. It's sort of allowing Issa to get into the game, allowing Issa to drive into the penalty area. He does, he takes on a couple of players, weaves his way through. A nice finish, actually. A good goal from Issa, but a mistake from the defender of Sheffield Wednesday. Almost sort of headed it backwards. So, they've got to respond. They're 2-1 down at half-time. How do you come through this and win the game? Because it is a must-win. Plymouth were at home, and you thought they probably, with their home record, win the game. They didn't, but they didn't know that. They didn't know that, and they know there are chasers. Bolton are chasing. We'll come on to Bolton. They weren't quite chasing, or didn't show that in their game yesterday. Ipswich, they did win, so they had to keep winning. They have to keep winning. Where they are right now, they have to keep getting results, and they did in the end. They did, because their second half, they absolutely came to life. In fact, their second half XG was 2.883. Remember, their entire XG was 3.72, so a much higher XG in that second half. As for MK Dons, their XG in the second half, 0.1. Not a sniff in the second half for MK Dons. They tried to defend maybe what they had. I think that might have been a bad idea. Of course, much easier said than done, but I think they just allowed Sheffield Wednesday just to pile on the pressure. And 2-2, a penalty, handball, 3-2, 4-2, 5-2. Michael Smith, of course, got 2 goals in the game. He scored a double that was really important. Of course, one from the penalty spot, one really good finish as well. And you can see the shot map. A domination when it comes to where the shots came from, in and around the penalty area, a lot in the penalty box. As for MK Dons, not many. Of course, the goal came from long range. Lecco spoke about it, just outside. I said just outside, quite a long way from the penalty area, just actually inside his own half. And then, of course, the goal from Issa as he drove into the penalty area, just in there by the penalty spot. But not many shots indeed. As for Sheffield Wednesday, pummeled them, absolutely threw so many efforts at them, and it just became impossible for MK Dons to defend them, and the amount of shots they were taking, the amount of chances that they had, it was just going to get messy, and it did get messy. 5-2 to Wednesday in the end, and the graph in there just does show that. The XG in the second half, 2.83, a really good half when it comes to expected goals, and we speak about sides maybe not scoring those expected goals because there's no guarantee they did that. They were clinical, and also, of course, they created a real abundance of chances with the great players they've got in that squad. And, of course, MK Dons should be taking some positives from it in that first half, but they'll look back on it now and go, yeah, we got beaten very comfortably. But first half, there were positives, but got swallowed up in the second half. Down to Wednesday just showing what they're all about. 63% possession to 37, 22 shots to 6, 8 shots to 2 when it comes to shots on target, many more corners, 4 big chances to 1. And also MK Dons missed a big chance as well in the match. So, yeah, it's not good, is it, for MK Dons? It's not good because they got absolutely battered in the end. Now back in that bottom 4, which is not good. And then they've now got to sort of get out of this rut once again. 2 defeats on the bounce. This one will hurt because they did have a moment in it where they thought they could get something out of a very difficult place at Hillsborough. But Wednesday, they turned on the heat when it matters. For Wednesday, 2 straight wins, 68 points level with Plymouth Argyle. But with that very important game in hand, they're back top of the table. Fair play to them. Deserve the win. And when it matters, the mentality they saw through and did shine. Let's move on to the final game of the roundup. Bolton Wanderers travelled to Wycombe Wanderers. And, Wycombe do what Wycombe do best. A classic Wycombe performance. Wycombe 1, Bolton Wanderers 0. The XG for the game, 0.81 to Bolton's 1.29. Surprise, surprise, Bolton have a higher XG than Wycombe Wanderers. They had more possession than Wycombe Wanderers as well, but lose the game. A classic Gareth Ainsworth masterclass from a tactical perspective, and of course the players as well did exactly what they needed to do. You can see by looking at the graph here, Bolton attacking again with ease, attacking with ease compared to Wycombe, but not scoring with ease. Crucially, not taking those chances when they did come, because Wycombe aren't fearful of a side that comes with more possession, that knock it about, that have more chances. Worried. They're not worried. Have a high XG. Have majority possession. 60% possession Bolton Wanderers had in the game. Wycombe, of course, if you're quick at maths, had 40%. That doesn't them. More shots with less possession. More shots on target with less possession. Of course, more shots off target with less possession as well. A low XG. Bothered? Not much. Gareth Ainsworth would be saying 19 shots with that number of ball possession and just, general play. It's just what they do. It's what they do, and it's how they'll be so successful. I wouldn't be surprised if they sneak it. If they sneak into that top six. Of course, Barnsley do have a game in hand and they won yesterday. And there is a 3-point gap there. But I just think Wycombe, you can't write them off. You really, really can't. A sublime win goal, by the way. Let's come back to that Lewis win goal. A really, really good time to score just before half-time. Changes the second half and changes the first half, obviously, with the goal. But it does change the complexion of the game. And Lewis win, that hit is wonderful. It's a wonderful hit. It's sort of first time. It's from a set piece, actually, if I remember it correctly. A set piece. It comes into Gary McCleary, who got the assist. And then Gary McCleary gives it Lewis wing back and he just swings one in. It's some strike. It's some strike. And that's what they do. Take one chance. If they're going to defend as well as they do, because very rarely, it's so... they've taken points of Ipswich this season. They've taken results off now, of course, Bolton. They'll do it. They will do it. Because they'll win, they'll score one goal and they'll defend for their lives. And they're so good at defending a lead because their game management is exceptional. Exceptional game management. And yesterday, Bolton were at the bad end of that. Winning run does come to an end for Bolton. It does come to an end, and there will be frustration, of course, that comes with that. They run a really, really good winning run. People are calling them unstoppable. It's crazy, isn't it, how football does change? Bolton were like, and quite rightly so. I'm not digging out Bolton Wanderers fans, and I was the same. You can't write Bolton off from a top 2 place. You can't, because they're in great form. Back to back 5-0 wins. But Wycombe, if there's going to be one side that could stop a run, it would be Wycombe. One side to stop the happiness within a fan base, it would be Gareth Ainsworth with his side, because that's what they do, and they have done that to a great degree over the last couple of years in Sky Bet League One. So it finishes Wycombe Wanderers 1, Bolton Wanderers 0. Like I said, Wycombe, they could do it, They could. As much as it frustrates me, they really, really could. But they deserve it because of the way they play. You just have to respect it. You just have to respect it. Let's go around the grounds. Plymouth Argyle with a shock. I say shock. Fleetwood's away record is very, very good. But they would feel that they just need to get more at home. Their home record has been brilliant this season. A draw, 0-0 against Fleetwood. A good result for Fleetwood Town. Of course, Plymouth, though, disappointing considering Ipswich won. And, of course, Sheffield Wednesday won as well. Lincoln City 0, Pompey 0. How this game was 0-0, I will never know. Pompey's last grasp hopes of a playoff push does come to an end, you'd say, after that result. More attacking movement from Pompey compared to Lincoln City. But Lincoln, they did have some big chances. Colby Bishop, by the way, missed an absolute sitter in the game. 0-0 the final score there, but you'd expect some goals by looking at the statistics on that one. Cheltenham 0, Barnsley 4, a battering. Barnsley win the game 4-0. Very, very comfortable stuff. They are now sort of creating a little bit of a cushion in the top 6. Morecambe 0, Peterborough United 3. Peterborough do win the game. Another comfortable result for them after quite disappointing run of games before these last couple. Peterborough United, though, get the result against Morecambe. 3-0 the final score. We touched on that one, thankfully. Port Vale 1, Exeter City 0. A red card for Exeter in the game as well. But Port Vale, I think, have, of course, done very, very well this season. And a good result for them in quite a quiet second half. Port Vale much better in the first half. Of course, scored the goal. Not actually at that moment, but straight after the red card. It got bad to worse for Exeter when that man got sent off. As for Bristol Rovers, very, very disappointing. Where does Joe Barton sit now? 2-1 at home to Burton Albion. Burton, of course, now have a bit of a resurgence as they try and battle the way out of that bottom 4. They're doing a very, very good job it. And talking about battling their way out of the bottom 4, Accrington Stanley 1-0 against Shrewsbury. Shrewsbury in sublime form coming into this game. Nobody could stop them. Well, Accrington Stanley could. Did I predict this one? I didn't predict any games this weekend, but if I was going to predict it, I wouldn't have predicted Accrington to get a result against Shrewsbury. Confidence was so high at Shrewsbury Town, and probably should still be there. They've done very, very well, but this result will be a big blow, and they'll feel now their sort of surprise push for a top 6. This could slightly derail it. You can see by looking at the graph, Shrewsbury definitely gave us something in the second half, trying to chase the game, but it wasn't to be. Accrington Stanley 1, Shrewsbury 0. And that is just about everything. Please do leave a like and subscribe. If you did enjoy the episode, show support by doing both of those things. And in the comment section down below, how do you feel when reflecting on this weekend of action? Lots of decisive games and some decisive points as well. I've been Jack. This has been the Unfan Podcast. I'll see you all very, very soon. Until next time, take care.